Hey guys, this is Drew. I'm going to show you a little bit of what I'm working on with my line break chart with the Heikin-Ashi entry system. So we're using NinjaTrader 7. I'm going to show you how to set up a new chart. We're going to go to New Chart. We're going to be looking at the Euro Dollar. These are different chart setups they have, and we're going to be looking at the line break chart every 30 minutes. So every 30 minutes that a bar closes higher than the previous 3 bars, we get a new green bar. If it closes lower than the previous 3 bars, we're going to get a red bar. I'm not an expert on how it works. I just know it works pretty well. Now I have to tell you that it prints a bar based on the open and close. So there can be prices below this bar, they could be going lower, they could be going higher, but we're really not going to see it on these previous bars that are printed. What we're only going to see is the price action that's happening on the current bar, which is this one here for this example. So I've already, the second one, the second chart we're going to look at for entries and exits and stops is going to be a Heikin-Ashi chart. So on the 1 minute, for this example of what I'm putting together, so we've got a minute chart on the 1 minute. We're going to create the chart. We're going to add on the Heikin-Ashi indicator. It's default with NinjaTrader 7. There's a NinjaTrader 8, but I'm not quite as familiar with it. So this is going to give us nice peaks and valleys, like this is a peak, this is a valley, and I don't have a better vocabulary for it. So that's what I'm going to call it. These are peaks, these are valleys, here's another valley, here's another valley, here's a peak. Okay? That's the best I can do. Oh. The indicator didn't add to this, so hold on. Here's the indicator. Heikin-Ashi. That's why it didn't look right. Alright, here we go. Here's a peak. Here's a valley. Here's a peak. Here's a valley. Here's a peak. Little valley, peak, valley, peak, valley. I think you guys are smart enough to get the idea behind this. We can change the different settings for this to get a different kind of chart that we would want. You could change this to a 3 minute. It's going to look very different. So here's a peak, here's a valley, here's a lower valley, here's about an equivalent valley, peak, peak, valley, 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 peak, valleys. I think this could use a little bit more refinement, so if anybody out there in the audience has a better idea, I'd love to hear it. But I've already put together the charts for the examples today. So let's go to those examples. First thing we're going to look at is my line break chart. That didn't quite work. So we're going to make a Euro Dollar line break chart. Look at the speed setting of 30, so we're using 30-minute candles for this. Now, one of the great things about NinjaTrader is if you have 2 windows that are open, you can combine those cursors from one window to another to kind of match up. So I had a window already open utilizing the Euro USD for the line break, but my minute chart that I set up with a couple different nice settings got messed up. So, alright, what we're going to be looking at, I set this to a global crosshair. This one's on a global crosshair, so whatever I do on one chart, I'm going to see on another chart, on the other charts, all the other charts. So I'm going to get over here to these boxes that I filled in. This is the long that we're looking at, and this is going to be the short that we're looking at. So as you can see here, the chart on the right corresponds to the chart on the left, and where this crosshair is on the right, it matches up with the crosshair on the left. So what we're looking at is the short entry. It starts about here. I'm just going to put a rectangle on there to approximate what we're looking at. I'm going to put another rectangle on there to approximate the short trade that we're looking at. And I'm leaving this sell signal bar here blank. The sell signal bar here corresponds to the price action that's happening here. And I'm just going to ignore that for right now because I don't want to take up too much time. I don't want to bore anybody. So what we're looking at is a sell signal here. So we have a series of red bars. Price action can happen below or above these bars. That's why we don't want to completely trust these bars, because price can be below this red, so it's not like we'd want to place a buy signal right here with a stop here, because price action has probably happened below here, probably happened below here. And that's why we're going to go to our 1 minute Heikin-Ashi chart to take a closer look at what's happening and really kind of get a sniper entry on our market order, or a stop buy for these. So anyhow, we have our first green bar after a series of reds, and that tells me that it's time for us to look at a buy entry. But I like to see a second green bar form, and that gives me a little bit more confidence that we're going to see a nice trend going upwards. I don't know for sure, but once I see this bar print and this bar print, I feel confident switching over to my Heikin-Ashi 1 minute chart. I've got the global cursor turned on. I'm going to go over here to I marked the second bar here on my 1 minute Heikin-Ashi chart with a circle, and this kind of approximates that second bar. Now, I don't want to take any trades until I feel like there's a confirmed uptrend. And so what I'm looking for is on this Heikin-Ashi chart, peaks and valleys that give me a good confirmed uptrend. I'm not a pro with this, so Give me a second. Not a good editor either, so I'm not gonna edit this video. Just see is what you get. I want to zoom in here. All right, here we go. These are what I'm going to call rising valleys, rising peaks and falling valleys. Let me zoom in again. Here. Okay, these are our Heikin-Ashi bars. Here's that second bar, that second green bar that we were looking at. I feel confident after that second green bar that we can start looking for a long entry. So here's our rising peak. Here's another rising peak. And here's a valley, kind of a peak. But I want to look for two peaks in a row, rising peaks. So here's a peak, here's a valley, here's a peak, and here's a peak above it. So I'm going to draw a line connecting this peak to this peak, and once price crosses above and breaks this line and closes above it, that's going to be my entry. So I'm going to put in a buy entry here. I can do market. I can put in an order a little bit above if I just am more of a cautious person. I can put in my stop here if I want to be really aggressive with my stops. That's only going to be a 3-pip stop. I like to be a little bit looser with my stop, so I'm going to set it down here. And that's going to be 53 minus 46 plus a little bit of extra room. So that's only going to be an 8-pip stop from here to here. And I feel like that gives me a little bit more breathing room. And we're going to take a look at what we see from here. We've got price go up, retrace, price goes up, retraces a little bit more. It doesn't quite get to my stop, which was down here. But remember, this is a 1-minute time frame that we're looking at. So if we wanted to look at a 5-minute time frame, this whole thing is going to look a little bit different. Now we want to look at multiple other entries as we move along. So this was our first entry here, and we've got these rising peaks. Here's a falling peak, and this is just a retracement like you expect. Here's a rising peak, now a lower peak, a lower peak. This is our valley here. Here's a rising peak, now a rising peak. So we could use this rising peak to plan another entry. So here's a rising peak, falling peak, because this one here is lower than this. Lower. This one is a rising. This little whole series of candles here we could combine to make one peak. So let's combine this peak to this. Place our stop down here. And there we go. Price moves up. Here's another similar entry. We got price going up. Here's lower peaks than this one. Here's a big rising peak, lower peak, equally lower peak, rising peak. So we could use this as another entry, place our stop, here or here. Either way, it doesn't matter. We haven't gotten stopped out. Price is going to keep going up. Here's another entry here. So we could take that entry, place our stop. We enter here, we place our stop down here at the most previous or second most previous valley. Price goes all the way up, and of course we're moving all of the stops as we continue to go, so we're probably moving our stop to here or here at this point. Price goes up, exhausts itself, falls back down, and we're going to hit our stops here. But if we look back, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 entries. We could have taken some more. We could have taken an entry here. It'd be another 5. We had lots of opportunities to put in entries, and I added these up. The first one would have been a 46 pip. The second one would have been a 40 pip gain, 24 pips, 18 pips, as this trade continued to go up. And then things exhausted here, and we're done. We got stopped out. But at the same time that we got stopped out, we take a look over at our master chart here, and we see that a big sell signal has printed. And now that tells us it's time to look for a short. So like I said, I'm a little bit more conservative. I want to wait until that second bar prints here on the left. And if you look at my chart on the right, I marked. I kind of circled where we have that second red bar. Now, of course, price can always move up out of that bar, and we might not know it looking at our back test. But if we're looking at this real time, we're going to start looking for a short trade. So I'm done with my master chart here on the left. It's told me that the master trend is down to the downside. So we are going to be looking for shorts. On that last chart, we were looking for our rising valleys and falling valleys. Rising peaks, falling peaks. 2 consecutive rising peaks is what we were connecting to look for our signal. Now we're going to be looking for these valleys. So I'm going to zoom it out a little bit. I think you guys can probably visualize where these falling valleys are. So once we're outside of this bubble here, we're looking for falling valleys, and we want to see consecutive falling valleys. So here's falling valleys. Here's another falling valley, but this is our first falling valley outside of our second red bar. So we go back here, we find one of our valleys. Doesn't matter which valley it's going to be, we just want to get a nice trend line to connect this falling valley to this falling valley. Once price crosses and closes below this valley, we want to put in a short order. You can use a market order. You can use a stop sell order if you feel a little bit better that way. Give yourself a little bit of a stop here. If you place your stop here, you'd be stopped out by these, but if you want to give the trade a little bit more room to breathe like I do, you might set it up here. If you were to set it up there, you want to see what this stop value is. it'd be 8 pips. You're setting an 8-pip stop, and you're not getting stopped out. And then things drop like a rock. As we go down, we can keep connecting these falling valleys. So here's a valley, a falling valley here. Here's another entry. We can connect another falling valley. There's no real rule on how you want to do this. You can just connect a valley to a valley. Price crosses below. You could have had your stop here. You could have gone a little bit looser, had your stop here. So you've got multiple entries as you go. You can do it however you want. I encourage you to backtest, see how many entries you can, see how many entries you find based on what currency pair, what time frame, what time of the day, what market you're trading. If you're trading the US Open or the London Open, price consolidates here for, maybe, let's see, from 2300 to 7 in the morning. So here's 8 hours of chop and consolidation. You'd moved all your stops to here. I don't know, whatever you want to do, If it had gone a little bit lower, you would have got stopped out, but you'd still have a really nice gain. Or if you fell asleep, which is what I usually do, I would sleep through all this and hopefully wake up to a little bit more of a nice gain. But let's go back and look here. So if we measure this out, if we got in here, up to here, that's a 65 pip gain. And we had multiple entries on there. If we want to look here, let's just say, for example, we got in here, wrote it all the way down. There's 71 pips. But we had probably 3 or 4 entry opportunities on each of these. So you're gaining a whole lot more. Now, the thing I really like about this system is we looked at the euro dollar, which I don't think has really great runs. In here we're at 1.0768. We wrote it all the way to the top. I don't know, what is that? Maybe 40 pips. Nothing I get too excited about. But these pairs that are the New Zealand dollar, the Australian dollar, crossed with the pound and the euro, when they run. They take off like a rocket ship, or they drop like a rock. So each one of these vertical bars marks a 24-hour session, open to close. So let's look here. I'm not going to drill down into our actual entries here, but let's just say you were to take an entry here into the Euro New Zealand, which is one of my favorite pairs to watch, and you slept through this, it's a market gap right there, but this ran for quarter of a day, another half day here, 452 pips in a day. And if you were lucky enough to catch the reversal, maybe you were awake, maybe not, I don't know. This is where we got a little bit of chop here, and a sell signal, 167 pips. Some chop. You You might have not even taken a trade based on your Heikin-Ashi. You might have lost a few pips. But here's another short. 292 pips. There's a lot of potential in this. Here's another one. Let's just say you maybe got in here, all the way up to here, 346. If you closed out when you saw a red bar print, well, you have another opportunity to get in right here. So I think this is a really powerful system with a lot of potential. I'd really like to hear what everybody has to say. I'd like to hear their feedback. Please share your information. Share with me what you have to say. I've got thick skin. If you say it sucks, I'm just gonna, let that go. I don't care if you think it sucks. But if you have anything to contribute, if you want to try some other time frames, if you want to change around the line break values from a 30-minute to a 5-minute or a 15-minute, if you want to change the Heikin-Ashi from 1 minute to 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, and just kind of take a look at this, see what kind of system you can build, how you can improve it. That's really what I'm interested in, is you guys looking at this, dissecting what I've shown you today, how you can improve it, what you can do to make it better. If something sucked, tell me what sucked so I can try to change it. But I want everybody to work together to make this the best fucking thing that we can make, for everybody to make a ton of money, and I think that's really the goal. And as our friend VP, who I think a lot of us follow, says, this is to get your time back. I'm comfortable with sitting in front of a computer for quite a while. It's my zen time. I don't mind. If I'm profiting, that's awesome. But please take a look at this, back test it. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed my video. Put a like on it, and we'll go from there. Thanks.